Hello, this is Dr. Jenine. I'm glad to have you with me today. It's a beautiful day. Actually, it's a very difficult day for me because this is my son's birthday and he is in heavenly realms with the angels. He passed away while he was serving in the U.S. Army. And, it's kind of compiled by a lot of other things. I've got my daughter that passed away not long ago, so I can't think of a better time to do a video than today because it makes me feel better. What you put out there in the universe is what is going to come back to you. We reap what we sow. So if we sow something that's beautiful, we're going to reap something beautiful in our hearts. To me, I can't think of a better thing to do than to offer up some information to help someone else. And that does good inside of my heart as well. It's the power of grace that comes from our universal creator that just enters into our lives when we extend grace out to other people. And today, I want to extend God's presence and God's grace to you. May God be a fountain that just rushes up from inside of you and just come up around you and enfold you to the point where you feel like you're getting a creator hug. May God bless you and keep you. May God hold you during the most difficult times in your life. May the angels be dispersed on your behalf. May God actually make presence known to you in beautiful moments in the night, during your sleep, when you're walking, when you're driving, when you're taking a shower, whatever you happen to be doing. May you hear the universal voice of our beautiful creator who loves you more than you can ever even imagine. With that, let's keep going. I'm creating this video as part of a series. We're talking about anxiety right now. I'm in process of creating the workbook that's going to be on my website as soon as I can finish that. I don't have a finish or completion date, but I can tell you that I am working on it, and I am so jazzed to have the focus on anxiety, depression, and also grief issues for my business because I really believe it's necessary and very much needed. So anyway, in the previous video, I talked about a man that I knew of that came back from Vietnam and he had a sweating problem. Not a fun subject to talk about. I don't know where he is now. That was quite a long time ago that he was serving. So it was many, many years later that he actually was still experiencing some of the anxiety and panic from having served in Vietnam. He's probably passed over by now. I really don't know for sure, but that's kind of my thinking. It's kind of what I feel, what I'm sensing. But that is one of the, a sign, of anxiety, and it can be debilitating, or it can be just a passing thing. That's the thing with anxiety. There are different levels of it. So you can have an anxious feeling and it can come and go and pass and it would be just fine. But anxiety becomes debilitating when we get to the point where we don't want to be in front of people, or, it's actually altering the goodness of our life, or our life path is not as good as it could be, or maybe it's causing other illness in our bodies. And there are many facets and things and ways that I can go with this. I'm just kind of giving you some examples. So one of the things I wanted to talk about today that I thought was really important as one of the signs of anxiety is dry mouth. Go figure. I mean, it happens during public speaking. For me, I've had it happen. So I'm going to give you an example. As a pastor, I didn't have any problem public speaking. I loved doing what I did. I felt like it was absolutely natural. As a public speaker, in other locations, I felt like I was an absolute natural. when I provided marriage ceremonies. That's another form of public speaking, whether we're in front of a few people or a few thousand or a few hundred. I absolutely loved doing that and still do. And, you know, it was kind of my element. I can't say that during that moment of joy, I felt any anxiety. I, as an empath, could feel some of the anxiety of the people around me, but I didn't feel anxiety. The moment that I did feel anxiety was when I went to Washington, D.C. during the Memorial Weekend, and I was the one who was going to be at the Grand National Hotel in Virginia, just over the border, and standing in front of dignitaries and people who were colonels and generals and, you know, different facets of our armed services, and you name it, they were there. You know, the Arlington dedication, you know, at the cemetery is a big deal on Memorial Weekend every year. And so there was a lot going on. And I didn't know this, but I was the one who was chosen to be the one who opened up in prayer and give the prayer invocation. Now, for me, this was really no big deal. So I had no idea I was going to feel any sense of anxiety at all. But I got up there, it was up on a stage area, and it was very spontaneous. I really didn't know I was going to open up the banquet with prayer. Number one, I had spilled something all down the front of me, and so I had to change. I was wearing the most horrible color that you can imagine, and I wasn't dressed the way that I would have liked to have been dressed and presented. So, you know, that in and of itself at a formal banquet was very difficult. But I thought, okay, well, you know what? It is what it is. This is not what we're here for. I am going to open up in prayer for all of these people, these dignitaries, military officials, and people who had lost their loved ones while serving in the armed services. This is a very, very important moment. And I thought to myself, how honoring to be able to do this for them and for my country. So as I walked up the stairs and got up to the platform, I was introduced, and it got really quiet. Of course it did. We were going to open in prayer, correct? So there I was, standing in front of everyone, nothing to say, closing my eyes, asking dear Heavenly God to just give me some words. And the first moment I opened my mouth, it felt like a straw went in and just sucked everything out of my mouth. I had no moisture in there at all. And you know how that sounds when you have nothing going on in there. It's really not a good sound, especially over a microphone. And here I am. It's almost like I'm trying to salivate again, just remembering that moment. And that was quite a long time ago. But here I was doing something perfectly natural for me, and anxiety hit me. As I was walking up those stairs, I started to see all of those eyes on me, and I thought to myself, this is what I always do. I'm totally fine. And I think what I did is I really overthought it. Sometimes when you overthink something, it creates the issue that you don't want to create. Because the reason I was overthinking it is I kept thinking, no anxiety, I can do this. But when you do that, you actually present yourself with more of that. What you put out there is what you get back. So what I put out there was anxiety, and that's what I had. Felt like a lemon just went into my mouth and sucked all the juice out of my mouth. It was horrible. So one of the things and the tricks that I learned to do, it's a trick of the trade, is you just put your mouth, your tongue, at the roof of your mouth. I'm doing it now. And you just kind of swallow, and it starts to secrete, you know, the salivary glands start to secrete. And it helped me out quite a bit. But that was a difficult moment I had to get through. That's a passing anxiety. Anxiety can happen like that for a person, or anxiety can actually become very debilitating. So for instance, if this was something that caused some kind of trauma in my life, not that I think it would, but let's just kind of say, for instance, it caused some kind of trauma in my life, and all of a sudden I didn't want to go out among people, and I had panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I kept not wanting to confront people anymore, or talk to them, or approach them, or have conversations. That is anxiety, you know, to the 100th-fold. It's like when it becomes very problematic, that's when anxiety becomes panic, and it becomes very difficult. It's like the subconscious mind starts to reel in all of this stuff that might have been fearful. And so it triggers that fight or flight thing that's inside of all of us. And it tells us subconsciously there's something to be afraid of. And then all of a sudden, before you know it, it feels like all the spit's gone from your mouth. And I'm sorry, that's the only way I know how to say it. But this has been, this situation that I told you about just now, this has been years. Look how long I've remembered this. Now, does it present a problem when I do public speaking? I don't believe so. I've done weddings, I've done speaking, you know, a lot of other things since then. So it's been, you know, quite a few years, but it is a moment that I believe happened to me for a reason. It wasn't that I wasn't prepared. It was that what I put out there subconsciously and consciously in my mind was what I received back. And that's what I really want to impress upon you today, is put out grace, the power of grace. Put out positivity. Counteract every negativity that comes into your mind with something that's positive. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. I mean, seriously. Look after yourself, because believe me, the universe has eyes and they are always watching, and it's created to give us back exactly what we put out there. It's not that any one of us are going to get this in a perfect way, but in order to at least alleviate some of the things that might be happening to you, and some of the anxiety that's going on, catch your thoughts, catch whatever happens in your dream states and write them down, journal them, keep track of them, give yourself some insight so that you can find ways in order to counteract those things and heal some of the things that you're going through. I'm getting ready to help you with some of that, and definitely you can call and do a session with me, but I'm going to propose some really great things on my website. Developing my website with some new things has really been a blessing to me. It's another example of putting something good out into the world, and something good comes back to me. A place of service and a place of purpose is what really drives me home. I'm not one of those people who have been born into this world to just kind of, you know, work a 9-to-5 job and come back home. And even though those are really great things, I'm one of those people who have come into the world and really have had to be focused on my purpose. And I think there's a reason for that. We all have a place of service. It's what makes me live. I believe, honestly, it's because my life has been filled with so much dark and difficult things. So many things I've had to struggle with. Working my purpose helps get me through those things. And I've said all of that to say this. If whatever you're going through, if you're going through anxiety, depression, if you're going through grief, or if you're going through other things in your life, what you go through is actually your calling. There's a prophet in the Bible where God said, you need to eat of the words, eat this scroll. So he was preparing to go out and, tell a city about God. And so he said, you need to eat of the scroll, and then you can go out and minister and preach on my behalf. And what I believe that means is we really need to eat of or experience of some of those things that we are called to do. So, a real indication as to where your place of service is your greatest struggle. Look at where your greatest struggle is. I had not really wanted to go into this. It wasn't something that's planned. It always makes me feel like there's someone out there that really needs to hear this when those things kind of pop up. Wherever your place of struggle is, that's your place of purpose. And, for a real long time, I shook my head at that. I thought, no, I am not going to make the loss of my children a place of purpose. I'm not going to make anxiety or depression or, some of the other things that have happened to me in my life a place of calling or a place of purpose. Am I just going to relive it all the time? No, I'm not reliving it. I am giving solutions, and I am taking light and applying it against the darkness for other people. And at the same time, what happens is it gives it to me as well. So, you give out light, you give out love, you receive light, you receive love. Things are illuminated into your life, and things become healed and whole. And that's what we're looking for, healed and whole. Relationships, that's another thing, because we're about relationship. Let's make ourselves healed and whole before we really concentrate more on our relationships with other people. Concentrate on your relationship with yourself and the one who made you. And I guarantee that relationships everywhere else, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's with friendships or love relationships, they will work out a whole lot better when you've worked on yourself. So this is part of what this is about. If you've got anxiety going on, and it comes out in a lot of different ways, and we're going to go through that. If not on the video, you'll see it on my website, and it'll be a part of the program. But there are a lot of things that can cause different, facets, I'll say measures of anxiety, and then also depression and grief. So I just hope that whatever comes out of me is something that's going to help you. It just does me really, it does a lot of good for me. And today, out of all days, what I would really love above anything else is for you to pass on my video, like my video, subscribe to my channel if you happen to see this video. Not all of them are good quality, okay? I'm not a videographer. I'm not a producer. I'm not any of those things. I am someone who is an orator. I'm someone who brings passion to our difficulties. How about that? Off the top of my head. I like to bring healing to people. I really do love to heal the hearts of those who are hurting. So give me a gift today. I'm going to ask that, if you would. Gift me today with a little bit of acknowledgement. Make a comment, send me a text message at 832-484-8306, and just tell me hello and that you saw my video, and just wish me well. It always does me good to know that people are wishing me well. So anyway, that's another facet of anxiety, or another thing that you might experience when you're going through anxious moments. And it's kind of a minor one, but it can be difficult, especially when you're a public speaker or when you're trying to talk to someone that makes you nervous. What about on a date? That just kind of came to me. Wow. If you're on a date with somebody for the very first time and you're really nervous because you really like this person, and the next thing you know, you're talking and all the spit leaves your mouth. It's an anxious moment. Drink some lemon water. It always does It always works for that. It always does you good. Anyway, I'm loving you from here. I just want to say God bless you in whatever it is that you do. May you be covered with the Spirit that created you, the powerful God with powerful grace. May God well up from within you like that beautiful fountain, and let's give you some energy. Let's pull it all down. And let's pass that on to you today. Some good vibes. If you've got to cry today, let it out. If you need somebody, please give me a call. Go to my website and visit often at JenineMarie.com. Makes me feel great to know that people are actually watching and they want to see. So anyway, I am loving you from here. God bless you and have a good rest of the day. Bye-bye.